Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with Brentwood Roofing's owner, Kevin Nix. Kevin, tell us again, man, there's so much that goes into this, and it seems that so often people, they just, gosh, we have a pregame and in between game, if you will, discussion, and this whole industry has just turned into, you've got to market like crazy just to keep up with these big companies, and then they can come in and pull the wool over, if you will, and then how do you make sure technology becomes something that people have to deal with? And how do you just help an elderly couple to witness the work that you're doing? They're not going to climb up on the roof. You got to get them to open these large files for these great pictures you take, but you make sure they see this stuff. Tell me why that's so important.
I mean, so drones are, becoming more common as, toy drones. Everybody's getting a drone these days. But I think 2 or 3 years ago, I bought a good one. And I mean, it'll fly up there, and like I always tell people, I'm like, this thing has better eyesight than I do. It's a 5K, so you can zoom in, you can get close-ups of everything, show before and after. That way, it's not just, it used to always be in the past, they just take your word. Well, you fixed my roof? Yep. Okay, I'm glad. But they had no idea what you did, You can show them before and after exactly what was done, so they know they got what they paid for. They know they got what you told them they were going to get. But like you're saying, a lot of these files now are getting huge, and you can't just email somebody 5 pictures anymore because the pictures are too big. So a lot of times I'll have to either put them on a flash drive, give them to the homeowners, or even bring an iPad with me and show that to them, to kind of go through it with them. But yeah, it's kind of nice. I like that. It's more transparent. There's a lot less. It kind of weeds out some of the bad guys, if you will, that could pull the wool over customers' eyes before.
Yeah. Well, again, back into integrity, doing this the right way, because that's what lasts longer if you're going to have a business that's going to succeed, and you want to do things that way. But that leads to my next question. Tell me a time when you really felt you helped somebody. They were in a tough situation, maybe a previous contractor had been in there. Give me a situation where you really helped somebody.
The first one that comes to mind is we tore off this roof. It was the house was in bad overall shape. And we tore it off. We tore off the shingles, and all of the decking was bad. I mean, if you have bad decking, you can't. It doesn't matter if you put the best shingles back on there. The nail, it's not going to hold a nail.
Yeah.
You can't have delaminated, plywood or too big of spaces in between, 1x boards. Well, we tore that off, and it was just rotten, mostly because there was no ventilation in the attic, and so all that moisture over time just rotted that wood away. And we ended up replacing, I believe it was 84 sheets of plywood for them.
Wow.
And, while I couldn't do that for free, I would have loved to, but I showed them the pictures on what they had and what had to be done. And that's kind of a hard thing for a homeowner to swallow, not thinking, oh my God, I thought I was replacing my shingles. Now I'm replacing, a lot of the infrastructure. And we ended up just basically doing it for cost. I was upfront with them. I said, I'll show you what I paid for the boards and what the labor is going to cost, and we'll do it for you for that. So it saved them a big chunk of money.
Yeah, what you're talking about, when you say decking, their deck was bad too. No, you're talking about the underlying 4x8 sheets of plywood. Those are actually going back, because most times those are reusable. You're just putting the new shingles on top of that. But that was all gone. You said, how many of those did you have to replace?
I believe it was 84.
84. Wow, that's a lot.
It was a lot. It was the most we've ever done.
So you're talking 4x8 pieces, everybody, and 84. I do the math on that, but that's most of the roof was just everything. You were down to where you just had your
the rafters right, or the trusses or whatever.
Trusses, yeah.
I think it was around 30 square. There's roughly 3 pieces of plywood per square, so a square is 100 square feet.
Okay.
A 10 by 10 area is a
10
square.
10 by is a square, yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. I mean, so I think that was I think they were very appreciative of that.
Yeah, well, that's another where you're just going above and beyond the call to make sure that the customer is taken care of. And it would have been easy to say, hey, and we marked this up, and we're going to charge you this, whatever, and that's how we do things. And sorry, but how would you like to pay for that?
Right.
And he took care of them and made sure that this got done for them anyway.
Yep.
Great example. That's what we're looking for, because I believe that comes back, everybody. That is what comes back. If you start to help people like that and run your business that way, then you're going to have a successful business, which comes back for you. Am I being selfish because I learned that if I help other people, it benefits me? Does it make me selfish?
Right.
But hey, do what's right to help people, and it will get you through what we have to all struggle to make ends meet and to provide good service to everybody. It's hard work, but it pays off.
You said earlier too, it just makes you feel better too, right?
Right, you got to sleep at night too, right? You say,
right.
Hey man, these people who do take advantage, I mean, how do they feel good about that? Because they got to be going, Oh yeah, and I hope they don't find out. When they call me back, and if they tell somebody else, not a good way to run a business.
Yep. Yep. Unfortunately, I see that a lot. I do a lot of roof inspections that we don't even end up replacing the roof on. But when the homeowner tells you what they think is up there and what has been done in the past, and you get up there and you're seeing something completely different, it's kind of hard to break that to the homeowner that people in the past have been taking advantage of them, and you just try to help them out if you can.
Well, yeah. Again, what it takes to step up above and beyond to do so, and really makes a difference. And it explains why you've had such success. A+ rating and the great reviews. Check that out. We talked about that in our earlier first recording here, our interview with Kevin. And great reviews, great content out there, great information that he's really doing a good job. So tell me the process. I'm happy. I think what you're going to do is great. I want to hire you, Kevin. How would I go about doing that?
Well, if I've already talked to you, we've already established a bit of a relationship, and I hope you have some trust in me. The next step's going to be, if it's an insurance job, contact them, get an adjuster out, and let me know when they're coming. I'll meet them. We'll have a discussion. We usually know when they leave whether or not they're going to cover the roof. Sometimes they use third parties, and they might not give you a definite answer. But as soon as you hear back on that answer, let us know, and we'll, act accordingly. Either sometimes you call for a second inspection by the insurance company, and I'd say 95% of the time, if the first adjuster denies a roof being covered, it'll get covered with the second guy. How that happens, I don't know. I guess the first guy might have had a bad day, not sure. But there's always that option. Or if they do cover it because of visible damage, obvious damage, I'd say, well, what color do you want to put on here? Because a lot of different color shingles these days, and not just the old gray ones. So get a color picked out, and at that point, it's a matter of getting it scheduled. Right now, it's funny because right now there is a shingle shortage. It's actually worse than it was right after COVID. I think because the demand is so high, it's taken about 3 weeks now to get a roof stock where it used to take 2 days.
Wow.
So you got to just get that set up, get the labor scheduled, and get everybody briefed on the process, and then take care of it. If it is an insurance job, all we ask for up front is insurance will cut you a first check, which is the cash value of the roof. They don't pay for the whole replacement cost until you've actually replaced it. So, we don't ask for any crazy deposits. We just ask for that first check. That way we can order the materials and know we're also not going to possibly be taken advantage of. And then upon completion, we'll notify your insurance, and they will cut you a second check to the depreciation plus that cash value equals the replacement cost. We'll wait till you get that, till it clears your bank, and then we'll settle up with you with our final invoice.
So there's the process, everybody. So tell me, if somebody says, I haven't even met with you yet, is it easiest just for them to call you direct, go to your website? What would be the easiest way for somebody that says, I want to hire you, but we haven't even met yet?
Go to the website. I put my cell phone on a lot of things. I think the website has a number that'll take you to our office, and I get those messages right away. Or you can call my cell phone if you have that. And I try to get out within a day or two of someone calling me, because, most people don't like to wait for things these days. So I try to get out there as quick as I can.
Yeah, well, if I've got the information there correctly, 314-464-0671.
That's right.
Or Brentwood Roofing and Construction.com.
Yep, all spelled out.
All spelled out. And or you can just type in Brentwood Roofing and Construction, or Brentwood Roofing. I think you show up on page 1 on Google for that, and see their stuff. Or find them on Facebook when they've got the information. There's 222. Is that a different phone number?
222-9527?
Yep.
Yep. We got a couple different numbers. They'll take you to the office, though.
Okay. So there's that information. Here's the fan page, and then here is the website. So all this information available, easy to get a hold of these guys, easy to get started with them to make sure you get your roof properly fixed, updated. And
there's also that form right there on the front of the website too. You can shoot me an email, and I'll get that right away, and either call you back or email you back.
Yeah. So if we're here, everybody, see this form right here. This is the form submission. Fill this in, and get your information sent to everybody, so you can get that taken care of and get that information put in place, so you can start getting the repair taken care of. There you go, everybody. All right, so we've gotten this far in this. You've been doing this for a long time. Tell me, what's a challenge that very often you have to overcome when you're going through this? Is it dealing with the insurance company? Is it helping the client understand why they should incorporate the insurance company, or why some people are afraid of making a claim? Tell me a challenge you have to overcome very often when you're dealing with this?
The biggest challenge I've been facing, in the last 6 months or year is dealing with the insurance, is getting the claim paid when it's a claim that when it's a roof that should be replaced and insurance should be paying for it. I think they're understaffed right now. There's a lot of storms going on all over the place, and I think there's just kind of a bit of a shortage there. So working with insurance is taking a while these days, a lot longer than it used to.
Okay, yeah, because the insurance company, again, why would you ever want to take this on your own? It'd be like trying to represent yourself in a criminal defense, right?
Not if I take that much credit.
but I mean, just say, let's say, hey, when you're helping the community, this is when we put the cowboy hat on because, we didn't even put this on the first show. I got so wrapped up in such a good conversation. That whole show dedicated should had the Cardinal Cowboy hat on. But Kevin does a great job. He really does a lot to help the community. You see, he leads with his heart, everybody. He goes out there to actually make a difference because you can tell he's putting the consumer first. And that is the key, I think, to this and being successful because take care of those clients, they'll tell other people.
That's right.
That's just the way business should be run. But how often are people trying to cut corners, trying to save a few bucks, and it costs them in the long run, and that's not the way to run your business.
That's right. You always got to be a little skeptical of, say, the lowest bid. A lot of insurance companies will tell you to get 3 bids. You really don't have to do that. They calculate the amount off the size of your roof and the price, the average monthly price that is monitored by the Missouri Department of Insurance.
Okay.
But you can get 3 bids if you like, but you usually don't want to go with that lowest one because insurance is only paying out a certain amount of money, and if somebody's knocking that much off, they're probably leaving something off your roof that needs to be on there as well. So,
yeah, and that's just something people like to eat, quote unquote, eat the deductible, and that's not legal technically, right?
No, it is illegal, and you will not be getting what you should have on your roof. That's why I always tell people, and it's kind of cliche, but we're not going to be the lowest quote. I guarantee that, but we're not going to be the highest either. We're going to be, where it should be. So.
Well, that's good. Where it should be. There's a place for everybody to consider, right? Here's where it should be. All right. Well, tell me a challenge you've overcome with your business, something that when you were getting started, or when you, or even if it was your challenge as a cubicle resident back in the day. What was the biggest challenge you think you felt you've overcome personally in your career?
Honestly, I think there are a lot of roofing companies out there these days. A lot of big ones, small ones, in between. A lot of chucking the trucks that they have they just set their business up and they're just driving around with a ladder looking for whatever they can. I think it's differentiating myself with them. When you only have a little bit of time with a homeowner, that's kind of hard to do. So, the more I get into this and the more experience I gain, it just gets easier. And I think people can kind of naturally feel when, they're talking to someone honest or they're not. So.
Yeah, well, that gut feeling, we all get that gut check, right? When it's
right.
like, who am I dealing with here, and are they really taking care of me? And when you're buying a new refrigerator or even a TV, not as big a concern. But this is something that people need to be serious about because you're talking about something that could lead to a lot of other bigger problems also.
Absolutely.
What are the biggest problems people run into because they don't get the roof properly reinstalled or updated?
I mean, they'll have a roof installed and they'll look fine, and maybe ice and water leak barrier would have been left out of a valley, which is required. You might not notice that for a while until you get a heavy rain. It might be 2, 3, 5 years later, and at that point you have a big issue because you have a new roof. Insurance already paid for it. They're not going to pay for a full tear off, and in order to get to a valley, there's a lot you got to tear off just to get to that, to put down that $50 product that should have been on there initially, and it's not on there, and so it leads to a lot of headaches down the road that just could have been completely avoided.
Wow. So this is something that could have been as inexpensive as $50 worth of product that they had to buy. And we're not talking about the valley where the river's flowing, everybody. This is the valley where you've got one part of the roof leans and they come together and the water then goes down. Is that right?
Right. That's correct.
And so there's more pressure there. There's more flow of water. You've got to have something underneath that. There's something that should be going across everywhere, but it's a little harder to put that in, right? So they
right.
fold it, and you got to make it
different
fit.
type of underlayment. Yep, that's right. It sticks right to it, and normal underlayment you nail or staple through it, and water can get down through there. The ice and water, it's huge. I mean, you nail through it, you do anything to it, it still seals around it. So you could almost use that just as a roof. Actually, they say it'll last on a roof for a year. before you need to actually cover it with shingles. So it's a good product, my point is, and it has to be used in valleys because valleys, you're getting two shingles overlap, two layers overlapping, so it's just a higher chance of a leak there.
Right. Well, the more of the details about what you need to know when you're getting your roof done. I think about when you've got these two submerging the sides of the roof coming together. There's more pressure that comes about for that. I'm thinking about just our little one of our cameras up here. I added a 200 gram, a 4.4 ounce weight because it would periodically bounce. So that little difference right there made the difference in the way this thing gets up. Now, when you're talking about a roof, you're going, and then the flow of the water. I've seen it. I've got a little fountain out in front of my house, and just when it comes down through the gutter, it would move all the rocks out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, these weren't big rocks, but those little lava rocks. But I mean, that's the kind of pressure that comes down. It's concentrated coming down that funnel, down the gutter.
Yeah, there's a lot of water comes down. Water's a powerful thing, and you don't think about it, but the amount of water that's hitting the surface area of your roof, that adds up. You can see it coming out your gutters, like you said, and so if that's not going where it's supposed to, and there's nothing underneath of it, it can cause a lot of issues.
Okay. Well, we get into the details with regard to some of the work that goes on here. I had talked about this. You mentioned this before, but that roof you talked about, that the underlaying, the plywood, the actual decking went bad, and that was mostly due to the fact that it wasn't ventilated correctly. Is that what you said?
Yeah, correct. With the summers we get around here, you get a lot of moisture, and if there's no ventilation up in that attic, that is just sitting there. A lot of time too, it's not even the weather. It's people might have a shower vent or multiple bathroom vents. You got a lot of hot, moist air. They think that's going outside, and it's not. You'll have somebody that installed it just hung up the pipe in the attic, and all that's just filling in there. And after years and years of this, saturating the wood, then being hot from the outside, I mean that will destroy the wood. And that was actually 1x boards. That was. So on the older houses, a lot of them are built with 1x6s or 1x8s. Those are actually destroyed. You can go over them with plywood or OSB, or you can put 1x6s back on there. But it was real lumber. It got real damaged.
Well, you had to replace 84 pieces. That's kind of crazy to imagine that. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot that goes into these things. You want to make sure they're getting done correctly. Well, then tell me then, as we're about halfway through the second show, almost 2/3, almost 17 minutes in, everybody. It's our 28-minute show. What gives you the most satisfaction when you really get done with the job? Tell me what it is that fulfills you the most about what you do here to help people.
I mean, other than helping people, get what they should and what they need, and then taking care of people. I mean, it sounds so corny, and before I got into roofing, I never would have ever thought this was real. But I mean, after you change a roof on most houses, a roof is a big part of what you see when, curb appeal. When you drive up to a house, you think, oh no, you see the siding, the vertical siding. You do, but I mean, a roof can really change the look of a house. Somebody has 3 tabs on there and they go to architectural shingles. I mean, it makes a huge difference. And I mean, honestly, I like the way the finished roof looks.
Seeing the finished product, everybody, because he does make these houses look beautiful. And it's something you mentioned earlier, and it's something I guess a lot of people may not even consider. I've got the gray roof. I got to put the gray roof back on. This is an opportunity for them to upgrade, to get some new architectural design or different color of what to put on their roof and make a difference for their house. Looks like it's getting that rejuvenated new look.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the technology's come such a long way too. They now have copper in shingles to resist algae growth. There's actually warranties, 10-year warranties on most shingles for algae.
Oh, really?
Because it can't grow because the copper granul's in there. I mean, it's crazy, the technology out there. But instead of 3 1-foot tabs flipping up and flying off, you now have these architectural shingles, a lot heavier, 2 layers, have copper in them. I mean, it's a big improvement cosmetically and functionally.
Well, I know we've seen those houses that they have those blacks, looks like somebody just took a black cloud of dust and just dumped it on the house, and it leaves these streaks, and that's algae. Is that right?
Right, that's right.
That looks terrible, and then this will circumvent that.
Right, that does. That looks terrible, and some people even have that cleaned off, which is really a good thing to have your roof power washed. But I mean, some people really, really can't stand that, and this does. It prevents it. So,
and just a matter of the copper reacts with the algae, so the algae just, this is not where we want to go.
Yep, can't grow on it.
Can't grow on that part of the roof, and they spread that out throughout the particles, throughout the roof. I learned something every show, everybody. Keep that algae from growing on your roof by getting a higher quality. Certainteed, I guess, is.
We use Certainteed, yeah.
That's what you prefer.
It's a great product, yep. Most of them, GAF owns Corning. They're all incorporating the copper granules into into the shingles. But yeah, we use Certainty. I mean, they hold the look the best, you know, and we've never had a blow off. We've never had anything. I've seen other brands where, you know, some of them just don't seal as well. I guess I'll say that.
Gotcha. Well, there we go, everybody. Somebody who's got their heart in the right place, doing a lot to make a difference in our little community. Give it up for Kevin Nix. So with that, we're our final question here, and then we're going to show everybody some of your work. You got a lot of great work. We're going to show some people some of the photos on your Facebook's got a lot of good looking stuff you've done there. But tell me, what does it feel like to contribute to the community with a business like you've run now for so long, and what you do to make a difference on our little planet?
You know, it feels good when I'm, you know, say dropping my son off at school or going to events like that, just talking to other parents and just, you know, I don't know, it just feels good knowing you're helping people out and being able to spread some knowledge to them, which I know it's a roof, but still, you know, I just like that. We contribute quite a bit to Children's Hospital. I just have a kind of a soft spot in my heart for kids, and, you know, there's no one really there to help them, so we like to, you know, do what we can for Children's Hospital.
Yeah. So how do you get involved with Children's Hospital, and what was the connection there?
I mean, we pretty much just donate at this point. You know, anytime. Yeah, we just make donations to them.
But there's 1,000 places you could donate to. Why did you choose Children's Hospital?
I just think they do good work with the kid. You know, good things for the kids. Like I just feel like the kids are so I guess vulnerable. They can't protect themselves. So you know, that's people that are looking out for them.
Well, that's a great. And now you're hitting a little bit of my heart too, because I visit the kids at Children's Hospital. I go down and talk to those kids, and kids have been in a bad accident or come out of a coma or had a stroke, and they just want to have a little bit of encouragement. And so
yeah.
I don't because I want to talk to the kids, and maybe I don't have the money to donate as much to do that, but just for the fact that you picked that charity or that organization, because they do a lot to help kids. I mean, they really do.
Yeah.
And it's great to see you contribute, not only by having a successful business that makes a difference in our community, but by also going out and saying, hey, let me contribute some financially to these kids, because that's our future, right? These are the guys that are going to be running the country in a few years.
Right.
We got to make sure they keep their head on straight and come through for us.
That's right. They'll be taking care of us one day.
that is true. All right, everybody. So as we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit more here, as Kevin's done a great job with an incredible business. Now we're going to show some of the pictures he's got here, and we've only got a couple minutes left. But with that, let's go through some of these photos, and I'll kind of alternate between the screen up here and Kevin and I talking. So I'll go, here's our wide angle shot, but there's a great view of a pretty dynamic looking roof. Tell us a little bit about this roof and what was going on here.
That was actually a roof in North County, and the owner contacted me and said they had hired someone previously, and they had materials delivered, and the guy could not get the roof on. And he said he was having trouble getting people out. It was kind of a messed up situation. I was a little leery of going into, but after meeting with them and you know, getting a contract signed, they actually took care of it, and the other guy got his materials back, and we put that on for them. And they needed some other work that we talked to them about possibly doing their siding and some other things, but I don't think they had the money for it right now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's again keep leaning into what needs to be done and making sure and taking care of your consumers. Another little community house there. Some other work from your vendor. Is this the same house?
That's the same house. Yeah.
The different angle we got there.
Yep.
So everybody, take a quick look at that.
That's why you like the drone. You can catch it from all those different angles.
Yeah, you get to see your work there. Make sure you did it right, because
Right.
You can see what from all angles. Yeah, get up there above everything and see what's going on. That's dynamite. Well, with that, we've got a ton more stuff you've done here. The installation process going on there a little bit.
Yep.
And then another good-looking house in the corner. Here's a flat roof. What is it like working with flat roofs? And how are they different?
You usually think of flat roofs on commercial buildings only, but like I was saying, in the city houses, they're made a while ago, and they're all unique in their own ways. You can see the tile on the front of that too. We didn't do that, but a lot of city houses have some shingles up front, usually on the sides maybe, and then a flat roof. And we've seen some flat roofs where they just kept layering over and over. We did a roof one time that had I think it was 7 layers, old layers of membranes on it, you know, EPDM or built up roof or tar, gravel. We took it off. The weight of it raised the ceiling inside enough where the drywall cracked. There was so much weight up there that should not. At some point, somebody should have, you know, we tear off to the deck, because without tearing off to the deck, you don't know what's underneath. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're nailing into or securing it to. You don't know if there's a leak already with moisture already in there. You have to tear down to the deck. people always want to save money, you know, and that's what they did apparently 7 times there. And I'm glad we did not do that another time, because you don't know how much, when's the last straw going to be, you know?
Right. And when you've got 7 layers put on, I'm going to put this up for everybody to see again. 7 layers, that's a lot of weight. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine, and just old, deteriorated stuff. And yeah, and again, like you said, what are they actually hammering into,
Right.
To substantially hold it down? And now you're causing bigger problems.
Right. Well, on flat roofs, yeah, I mean, that's TPO there, and that's kind of a newer product. Not really new. I mean, we're talking 10, 20 years, but you weld those seams together. You basically melt them together. They're fused together. So it's not like the old EPDM, the black rubber, where everything's glued, because you see those separate all the time, and then at each seam, that's another leak spot, you know?
Gotcha.
So I won't install EPDM. A lot of people say it's still fine and they can do it. I personally, we won't do that. I mean, those are great roofs, TPO.
TPO, okay. So they're your flat roof experts, everybody, so that they make sure this gets done correctly for you. Here, another little example here. We'll take a look here. This is your traditional house out in the county a lot of times. And
Yep.
what kind of roofing shingle is that right there?
That's a Certainty Landmark Architectural.
Okay. Yep. And very popular.
There's a valley right there, like we were talking about.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
there's
the
a lot of
valley
water
where
flow
the
going in there.
Make sure you put that cover underneath. What is the cover called again?
Ice and water, or
Ice.
leak barrier.
Leak barrier, ice and water. Brentwood Roofing will make sure and take care of that for you, everybody. All right, so another big flat roof. Again, here, a lot goes into these things. Here's one of these bigger roofs out you can see out in our suburbia. How many different layers, how many squares does a roof like this take?
I believe that was 55, 60 square. That only had 1 layer we had to remove, so that was good. But, you know, you get that pitch like that, and it doesn't, the pitch never looks as bad from the ground as it does when you're up there. So
When you say pitch, is that the angle?
the steepness of it, right.
How steep it is, yeah.
So, you know, the guys are obviously tied off the whole time on that, and they're working from a rope. So it takes a lot longer to tear off the old layers, the old underlayment and the shingles, and then put the new ones on when you're not just able to walk around on it.
Yeah, running around on a roof is a little bit of a risky job. You've got to be up there, and especially when they have a higher pitch like you've seen here, this is something that will make it a little more difficult. How many people try to do their own roofs? That doesn't happen very
I don't know. I hope they're not doing roofs like that. Yeah, I get on them enough to climb around and inspect them. That one was tough. You had to climb around on the hips there, go up on the valleys, climb on the hips. But my installers, man, those guys are up there all day working on it. So, you know, they're amazing.
Got an expert crew that makes sure that the work gets done correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, very important. Well, we love to see that. And then as we finish up a couple more flat roofs, some more. Oh boy, look at that! And you'll help people with the siding and everything too. If they just they need, because you got gutters, fascia, roof, and siding. All of that is important.
Absolutely. Yep. Like, you know, that house didn't have any damage, but you know, they might take, you know, hail will knock holes in vinyl siding very easily, and it might be replacing one side, 2 sides, trying to get insurance to pay for the whole house. If it's, you know, depending on the angle the house sits, you don't want to see. I don't care if siding's only a year old, you're going to notice the weathering effects and you know which side the sun's facing. So you can't always just replace what insurance is saying needs to be replaced. Sometimes you got to fight to get that extra area. So, you know, you drive up to the house and it's not looking like a patchwork quilt.
There it is, everybody. Your little